I grew up in a pretty traditional family. Our beliefs have always been pretty Christian-like. We grew up in church, and I learned about God from an early age. So when I lost my virginity, it was a really big deal because in my family, sex outside of marriage isn't okay. But my first experience with that wasn't exactly a good one. I was pretty young, and I had met this guy through school. He was older than me, and he just seemed to have everything I wanted. He was popular, and I wanted to be a part of that, and it seemed right at that age. And one day, he had asked me to sleep with him, and I told him no several times because I just didn't believe that was right. But after being worn down, I went ahead and agreed to it. He told me he would leave if I didn't. It's kind of this whirlwind of hurt that was going through my heart at the time. And so I said, okay. I hated it. I cried the whole time. And he left that day, probably feeling pretty excited. I walked home that day a mess because I knew that I had disappointed my family and God and everyone I knew and loved. What happened there played a big role in all of the decisions I made growing up. When it came to intimacy, it wasn't about feeling love for the person I was with, but it was about feeling wanted. I decided I wanted to meet some people who were my age, and women especially. I wanted to meet some girls that would take me in and just have some friends because I closed myself off for so long. And I did. I ended up going to this ministry where I met several people, but when I walked in, I didn't feel a lot of love. I felt more judgment. I felt like the women there, I don't know what it is about women, but it's like we have our territory and you can't cross it. And that's kind of how I felt walking into this ministry. The men, however, were very welcoming. I got lots of invitations to go and hang out, and soon it turned into intimacy with the first guy, and it wasn't something I wanted. I remember stopping in the middle and going into another room and just bawling my eyes out because I thought I was done with that and I thought I'd come so far. And then after that, I ended up sleeping with 2 more boys. And pretty soon, word started to spread about the kind of person I was. And it was heartbreaking for me. People would ask me, how do you call yourself a Christian? How do you say that you love God and you continue to make these choices? And I wish that I could look at them and tell them why, but I can't. People would call me a fake Christian slut. I don't know if you've ever known what it feels like to look in a mirror and hate who you are so much that you wish there was nothing looking back at you. But I was in that place until I met some women from my church who began to tell me their story and who they are, and began to encourage me to believe in myself a little bit more and to spend a little bit less time looking for my worth in men. So it took a while, but I eventually confessed everything. I got baptized and began to turn my life around. I'm still in a place where I struggle, and I think I always will be, because self-worth isn't something that just happens overnight. You don't just suddenly begin to believe that you're beautiful or you're worthy, but it's something that takes work. It's something I pray about every day, that God would give me the confidence I need to say no when I need to and yes when I should. So I'm thankful for the people who put themselves aside and weren't marking their territory, but were welcoming me into their life. The people who were honest and real with me are the people that drug me out of my darkness. And now I can finally see a light in my life, and I can finally lean on God in a way that I never have before. My name's Alex Goad, and this is me.